Honorable members, prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the wills of the people and the love for the common good. Praise the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of our coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen.
Good morning, honorable members. May I have your permission to inform the House that Right Honorable Speaker is unavoidably absent. Even though he's within the jurisdiction, he's outside the Greater Accra region, undertaking an equally important assignment in accordance with Standing Order 13, 2 and 3. The second Deputy Speaker, who is currently available, will perform the duties and exercise the authority of Right Honorable Speaker in relation to all proceedings in this chamber until Right Honorable Speaker has resumed. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we don't have any message from the President, neither do we have any communication from the Speaker. So we turn to item listed 4 in today's order paper. Oration of votes and proceedings and official report. We will start with the votes and proceedings. We will begin from page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Page number 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. page 16, page 17, page 18, page 19, page 20. Yes, Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry to bring us back to page 8. Mr. Speaker, I'm aware that the Honorables Ajimamenu Kweku, Amwakwata Kwesi, Matthew Okuprempe, and John Ampuntua Kuma have traveled outside, and they have submitted leaves of absence that have come through me to the Speaker. So it'll be marked absent without permission. I'll crave the indulgence of the Speaker that the records should reflect the reality. Thank you.
So item 4,
8, 18,
and
25.
18.
And 25.
Honorable table members, please take note. So we move on to page 20. Page 21. Page 22. Honorable Member Fanchiaso, are you up on your feet? Okay. Page 23. Page 24. Page number 25. Page 26. Page 27. Page 28. Page 29. Page number 30. Page 31. Page 32. Page 33. Page 34. Page 35. Page 36. Page 37. Page 38. Page 39. Page number 40. Page 41. Page 42. Page 43. Page 44. Page 45. Page 46. Page 47. Page 48. Page 49. Page number 50. Page 51. Page 52. Page 53. Page 54. Page 55. Page 56. Page 57. And finally, page 58. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of yesterday, Thursday, the 8 June 2023, is hereby adopted as the true records of proceeding. Honourable members, we have the official report of 16th March 2023. Official report of 16th March 2023. I take it again, official report 16th March 2023. Honourable members, if there's no correction, official report of 16 March 2023 is hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. Honourable, we return to item 5. Item 5, today's other proceedings, which is statement. Yes, Leader.
Speaker, may I seek your leave in line with Order 53.2 to effect an alteration in the order of business set out on the order paper, to have item numbered 7 to be taken now, and then we'll revert to questions and statements in that order. Speaker, thank you.
Item number 6.
Item number 7.
We have 7. We have statement. Let me invite you to page 3. Page 3. Item listed 7. Presentation of papers. And that will commence public business. So let me invite Majority Leader, who is slated to lay a paper as listed in 7A. So, Leader, 7A.
Annual report on the staffing position of the Office of the President for the period 1st January to 31st December 2022.
Are we supposed to refer it to Finance Committee?
No, Mr. Speaker, I think it should go to the Special Budget Committee.
Special Budget. Yes. Honourable members, the paper is duly laid and is referred to the Special Budget. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've never seen a report from any committee on the staffing position of the Office of the President for a very long time. Mr. Speaker, for a very long time. Oftentimes, I've seen referrals, but I've not seen the committee reporting to the House. Mr. Speaker, we should give the committee some timelines so that they will be able to report accordingly. But Mr. Speaker, this is a major issue. It keeps coming up, and nobody presents report for the debate of the House. And so it's important you urge the committees to report accordingly.
Well. Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, the position is this, that the reports from the ministries are given to the substantive ministers, superintending the ministries. Now, if there are any issues that the minister would want Parliament to be aware of, he will point it out in this statement to Parliament. So, other than that, if there are no issues, it comes to Parliament by way of information. That is what it is. But if there are issues and presented to the committee then will relate to a plenary. That is why the annual reports, the budget performances, are not reported on. But the committees are supposed to peruse it. If in the course of perusal they stumble on any nodal issues, it will require them to report to Parliament. That is how it's supposed to be. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I find it difficult to agree with the majority leader on this occasion. Mr. Speaker, I say this because this is not a budget performance report. This is a report indicating the staffing position of the office of the president. Okay, so I'm of the view that yes, since you have referred the matter to the committee, it's important for the committee to sit on it and report to the House. We cannot allow the committee just to sit on it and fail to report to us, so that we'll be able to debate it appropriately, and for us to be aware of the staffing position of the president. Mr. Speaker, this is particularly important because it has fiscal implications. And if it has fiscal implications, economic implications, it's only right for the House to be apprised with it, so that we'll be able to debate it appropriately and be guided. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes,
Mr. Speaker, I was talking to the papers to be late, all of them. I think I put all of them in one basket. Here's singling out the first one. Mr. Speaker, you may recollect that there's been some backwards and forwards on this, in respect of even which committee to deal with it. Sometimes, I think earlier on it was the Constitution and Legal that was dealing with it, and we felt that no, it rather should go to a special budget committee. So that is why I said it should go to a special budget committee. Now, in respect of the financial implications, don't forget that it is born out of the budgetary allocation to the office of the presidency. Of course, if they go beyond that in the implementation, that could be another matter. But to the extent that it is within, well, I'm not seeing anything outrageous. However, Mr. Speaker, because the numbers are also not sacrosanct, maybe you could have 100, you could have 50 or whatever, and you want to talk to the issues, why not? So if the special budget committee should interrogate and report, I don't find anything outlandish about that. But thank you.
Yes, Honorable Member for Okankwe Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this report emanates from the Presidential Office Act of 1993, Act 463, Section 11, and with your kind permission, let me read. The President shall, within 3 months, after the end of each financial year, submit to Parliament an annual report containing the following information. A, the number of presidential staff employed at the office. B, the rank or grade of such staff. And C, employees in the public services assigned to the President. Mr. Speaker, this has become a very topical issue where politics has been played around. And I believe that if you go through the Act, it even gives the president the power to even appoint consultants. When you go through the report before us, it lists the institutions under the office of the president, which includes the AIDS Commission, the Internal Audit Service. Some of these agencies or institutions appear before the Finance Committee. Others appear before the Special Budget Committee. They are they appear before different committees during budget hearing. So I believe the Special Budget Committee is seized with the jurisdiction to look at this report, because to a large extent they also look at some of the constitutional institutions that come under the Constitution. But we should also, at least, Mr. Speaker, invite the leadership of some of these very important committees who are under the office of the president to join the Special Budget Committee to interrogate the report. Ampa.
Very well. Honourable members, I believe this particular issue has been settled. I mean, the referral has been gone to the special budget. But if I got Honourable Minority Leaders right, he's just making a general statement that committee members or committee chair and the ranking, if referral are made to you, please, you have to do what it takes to report back to the House as early as possible. Because at times, some of the referrals are made and you don't hear anything about it again. So I think it's a general statement from my point that he's making. And from that angle, I may also suggest that leadership may have to take this thing up. That if referral is made to a committee, the committee, if there's the need to give them timelines as to when they should report back to the House, we have to do. So that it doesn't become that once a referral is made, it's just a referral that has been made and nothing is said again. So that's my angle, the way I am understanding from Honorable Atufoso. Yeah. Yes, Leader.
Speaker, it's the reason why I agreed with what my colleague the minority suggested, even though I said that in general terms, these are meant for information purposes. But they could make some report and submit those reports to us, at least, because so that the entire Parliament be seized of it. So the entire Parliament be seized of it. Having said so, Mr. Speaker, I want to disagree with the suggestion from my colleague, the Honourable Member for Mr. Speaker, it is like referral to the Committee on Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprise. Trade and industry would have dealt with them, their budgetary allocation. And when it comes to some particular aspect in terms of economy and the efficiency of those enterprises, it is the Committee on Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises that deals with them. Oftentimes, there's some war over the turf of some of the committees. And I think he's bringing the same thing here. He should be guided by the import of the 184 and not introduce any complications in the case. Speaker, my colleague would know that I'm not out of order. We cannot get up when the majority leader is on the floor. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I understand the various opinions coming from both sides and why they are coming. Mr. Speaker, annual report, the essence of annual report is to assist the House in its oversight responsibilities. And Mr. Speaker, if you check carefully, the staffing positions or the report being laid now, the committee responsible for the budgets, responsible for this is Office of Government Machinery. And during budget is the Finance Committee that consider Office of Budget of Office of Government Machinery. So if, Mr. Speaker, the annual report has now come, when they were considering the Office of Government Machinery budget, special budget members, we were not there. We were responsible for constitutional bodies that do not fall under any ministry, like the Electoral Commission, the Audit Service, the NCCE, and Public Service Commission, and the likes. But Mr. Speaker, if now a committee has considered the budget for Office of Government Machinery, their annual staffing positions and report is coming under special budget, I think it would be better, leader, if you refer it to us so that the leadership of the Finance Committee can assist, like the Honorable Patrick Boama is saying, so that, Mr. Speaker, we will be able to have the full overview of the budget that were approved and the impact of the staffing positions and their implications and the recommendations that should come in the 2024 budget. We must do all those recommendations, so he's not far from right.
Very well. Honourable members, the referral has already been made. The referral has already been made, and I will plead with you to move on, please. We turn to 7B by the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development.
Speaker, let me seek your indulgence to present these papers on behalf of the underlisted ministers.
Budget performance reports in respect of Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development for the period January to December 2022.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs for consideration and report. We turn to C by the Minister for Information.
Budget performance reports in respect of Ministry of Information for the period January to December 2022.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Communication for consideration and report. We now move to D, Attorney General and Minister for Justice.
Budget performance reports in respect of Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice for the period January to December 2022.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for consideration and report. We now move to E by the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations.
Budget performance reports in respect of Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations for the period January to December 2022.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises for consideration and report. Let's move to F by the Minister for Health.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Medical and Dental Council for the year 2022.
Honourable members, the statement has been duly presented. It will refer to the Committee on Health for consideration and report. Let's now move to G by the Chairman of the Committee. Chairman of the Committee. Yes, Leader.
Speaker, the committee really has not yet started on the matter. So we'll stand that one down.
Very well. So we move to H. H.
Speaker, the committee of the whole will meet on this tomorrow. So we shall endeavor to finish it up and then have the report submitted to plenary for its consideration. Same.
Leader, what about I?
Speaker, for I have no information on I. Committee on Agriculture.
The chairman of the Committee of Agriculture? Very well. So you step that one.
This year we can stand I down as well.
Very well. Thank you, Leader.
So, Mr. Speaker, we can now come back to questions and statements.
Statement or question?
Let's deal with the question first.
Question first. Honourable members, let me invite you to item 6. Item 6. Questions. Honourable members, we have 8 questions from members, and they are all directed to the Minister for Trade and Industry.
The Speaker, I thought you said item 6. Questions are item 5, not 6. Item 6 is statement. Questions.
Very well. Very well. I was just reading from there. But I'm now moving to page 2. Page 2. Item listed 5. Page 2. So all the questions are directed to the Honorable Minister for Trade and Industry. And I can see him. So, Adam said this year, if you may take your seat. But, very well. Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I have the permission of Dr. Kobna Donko to ask his questions for him.
I haven't called the question.
Mr. Speaker.
You are rushing. I haven't called the question.
Okay.
Yes. So, question, we begin from page 2, question 959. 959. And the question stands in the name of Dr. Kwabena Donko, member for Pru East. So, Honorable Leader, you may now ask the question on behalf of.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I have the authority of Dr. Kobna Donko to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry whether there is a conscious plan to make manufacturing the major thrust of employment creation beyond mining as well as oil and gas. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister. Deputy Majority Leader, what's the problem? I haven't called you. I'm calling Deputy Majority Leader. Let me hear you.
Mr. Speaker, the Minority Leader just made an application. I want to know whether he is fortified in making such application. I want to know whether you are fortified. The application was lame, so fortify yourself so that we can make progress. He has to fortify himself. You know you can't make a lame application.
I've granted the leave.
Yes, he needs to ground his application on something for leave to be granted. Mr. Speaker, unless you are waiving such a rule. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, unless you're granting a waiver. Mr. Speaker, unless you want to grant a waiver, then we are in your hands. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, we are governed by the jurisprudence of
Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, on this particular circumstance, I've waived That's
Mr. Speaker,
right.
when there is express provision.
You see, at this particular circumstance.
Oh, okay, Mr. Speaker, as you please.
Yes, Honorable Minister, the question has been asked. You may now answer the question. Mr. Minister, you are to answer the question, please. You have noted it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can confirm that there are indeed conscious and ongoing efforts to implement a well-laid-out plan to make manufacturing the major thrust of employment in Ghana beyond the extractive sector. Mr. Speaker, since the inception of the NPP administration, government has put in place a comprehensive framework for industrial transformation known as the 10-point plan, which is aimed at making Ghana the manufacturing hub of Africa. The 10-point plan consists of 10 components, namely the National Industrial Revitalization Program, otherwise called Stimulus Package. This is to facilitate access to medium and long-term capital for distressed but viable manufacturing companies to restore and enhance their production capacity and return the enterprises to profitability. The second one, Mr. Speaker, is the 1B, 1F initiative. I will give the details of, I think everybody is aware of. Mr. Speaker, the Strategic Anchor Industries Initiative, which consists, Mr. Speaker, of 10 specific programs. Mr. Speaker, there's also the industrial parks and special economic zones. There is the small and medium enterprise development. There's the industrial subcontracting.
Honourable members, if you have an issue, please address the chair. Don't. Mr. Minister.
Export development.
Mr. Minister, hold on a bit for me. Yes, Honourable member for.
I'm very sure that the minister is here to read to us what is in that paper. And when he was reading, some of us were not hearing anything. We will appeal to him to take his time and read so that we will understand and we will listen and understand what is in there so we can ask follow-up questions. But he's not reciting the Quran, so he should take his time.
Okay. Very well. Honourable leader, Honourable Minister, your complaint is that you read very fast.
Continue from where I got into.
Slow a bit for all of us.
I will do that. Export development, domestic retail trade, business regulatory reforms, public-private dialogue mechanism. Mr. Speaker, these are the components of the interrelated interventions that constitute the critical success factors needed to achieve industrial transformation in Ghana.
Yes, leader, do you have any supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, I have supplementary questions. Mr. Speaker, in the minister's answer, he made mention of other areas, the government since 2017 has undertaken to grow manufacturing. Can the minister provide some data, or can the minister inform us in terms of quantification, how much has the country saved so far in terms of export or import substitution? Because the Speaker, clearly, if a country engage in measures, policies that will transform the manufacturing sector, you should be able to see it in forms of import coming into the country. So do they have any numbers quantified to reflect the fact that import is coming down and manufacturing sector is growing in terms of numbers, the Speaker?
Yes. Minister, you may answer the question.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, actually, that's entirely a different. Mr. Speaker, that's actually a different question the minority leader is asked. The question that I've just dealt with, it's the efforts by government to boost industrialization. That's different from the question as to how there has been substitution in the products that are imported vis-a-vis those which are produced in the country. I risk informing the House in advance of what Cabinet needs to know, because Cabinet is actually not aware of this. But it's so important, the question he asked, that we actually at the verge of completing an LI to present to the House, to give us the statutory in which we're able to tackle the questions that the minority that is raised. If the House will recall, during my vetting, the issue came up as to how much the country is expending on importation of certain items. We intend to deal with that, Mr. Speaker.
Leader, hold on. You see, when you asked the supplementary question, somebody hinted me that it was completely outside the original question. So I shouldn't have even allowed. But I thought, that's why I asked the minister, he may. But he has also intimated that the question was different. So if you want import substitution, I think it would be good for the House and the entire nation to file a separate question for that. So, but I believe the owner of the question did ask you to ask supplementary question. I don't believe that.
Mr. Speaker, this is a follow-up to the very question, the very answer the minister gave to us. Mr. Speaker, the question is to find out whether the government has a conscious plan to make manufacturing a major thrust of employment creation. Can the minister indicate how much employment that has been created as part of government plan to make manufacturing a hub for employment creation? Can he share some numbers with us? How much jobs that has been created to date?
Minister, do you have the numbers?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have tentative numbers. At the last count, we were able to...
Minister, tentative. If you don't have it right, I will presume that you don't have it. Then you should go and come back well. Because giving figures that may not sit right, people may use it. So I will implore you to look at figures well. It's just an advice. If you may want to go on, that's...
my daughter, I was going to try to help you out, but the Speaker has advised me to go back. So I intend to listen to the Speaker more than to your question. So, Mr. Speaker, I defer to you and I'll go back.
Very well. So, Honourable Member, we turn to question 960. Question 960. And the question stands the same member for Pru East, Honourable Kwadradonko. So, Honourable Leader, you may still ask the question again.
Mr. Speaker, the question is to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry what efforts the ministry is making to develop the water bottling industry to international standards and thus end the importation of water in Ghana.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, there are stringent regulatory procedures put in place by the Food and Drugs Authority for licensing of packaged water, that is bottled and sachet, manufacturing facilities, and for the registration of the finished packaged water. The premises of these manufacturing facilities are also regularly inspected using the authorities' guidelines FDA/GL/FPF/2020/02. The inspection covers the starting material, which is water, and the packaging materials to ensure that they meet the respective standards. And the finished product meets the requirement of GS 175-1 of 2002 for drinking water and GS 220-2014 for mineral water. Look at the FDA also conducts market surveillance and product analysis of products in circulation on the market to keep pace with the phenomenal growth of bottled water and sachet manufacturing. Look at the regulatory framework for conformity assessment bodies involving testing, inspection, and certification will be further strengthened with the consideration and passage of the Ghana Accreditation Bill currently referred to the Committee on Trade and Industry.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I again want to ask the Minister if there are any timelines to ensure that this policy, as he has actually outlined, is going to be achieved. Mr. Speaker, this is particularly important because today when you go to some of the restaurants, in Accra in particular, some water that is for sale are imported. And if there is a way that we can curb those importations, then we will need to ensure that this is achieved in the shortest possible time. So I want to find out from the ministry if there are timelines to ensure that that is done and done very quickly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I am not sure I indicated that there were going to be timelines within which importation of such water will be banned. What I've outlined, Mr. Speaker, are the specific steps that are in place to ensure that water produced in this country is good for consumption. So we refer to the various standards that are expected of these companies to apply or to rise up to in the production of their respective products. If in the process there's enough in the market, the market forces themselves will determine whether we continue buying the made in Ghana water or the bits about those which are imported. But as I indicated, Mr. Speaker, there is this LI that I have already mentioned to the minority leader. If that comes to the House and it is approved, that will state the items which we have in mind if we intend to limit their importation into the country. I'm not sure if water is on the list, but probably it's on the list. But we will bring the document to the House.
Well. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, one last supplementary question. Mr. Speaker, will the Minister advise the Ministry of Finance to use fiscal measures to reduce the importation of water to our country and to give local companies the opportunity? Mr. Speaker, this is particularly important because until you use some fiscal measures to give competitive advantage to local Ghanaian companies, they may not be able to compete in that high-end water consumption market. Mr. Speaker, that is why I am asking the Minister if he will consider that as an option to help build the water bottling industry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader.
Mr. Speaker, may I draw the attention of my colleague, the minority leader, to Order 68(5), which provides no member shall address the House upon any question, nor in asking person shall any argument or opinion be offered. You have your own opinion, and you want to voice your opinion on the minister, as expressed in your argument. Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, I think this question should be ruled out of order.
Mr. Speaker, I did not express opinion. I asked the Honourable Minister for Trade and Industry a direct question. Mr. Speaker, my question is, will he consider fiscal measures as a tool to promote the local Ghanaian water bottling companies? Mr. Speaker, that is my question.
Honorable Leader, don't you think if you file a separate question for this is a very important issue? Honorable members, why no? I am asking him whether he will not do justice to all of us if you file a separate question that will elucidate more answers from this particular question than this supplementary question. That is my view. Mr. Minister, if you think.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, the point and the question he asked is of immense interest to everybody. That is why I said that there's something on its way to this House. So we may have to reserve all this and await the arrival of that document in this House. It's completely important question that he asked.
Very well. So we turn to question 1104. Honorable Member for Kita, Honorable Kwame Yapi.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
The honourable member has flooding in his community. He has asked me to seek your leave to ask the question on his behalf.
So, the same question that the Deputy Majority Leader asked is coming up. So, are you coming on which order?
Mr.
Anyway, once I've waived the...
Should I read the order on which I come?
If you have it, then let's hear it. Let's have it.
Mr. Speaker, when I come on order 68(3), in the absence of the member asking the question, any member so authorized may, with Mr. Speaker's prior permission, ask the question on behalf of the absent member. If it pleases you, I'll ask it on his behalf.
The underlying word is Mr. Speaker's prior approval.
That's what I'm seeking now. Mr. Speaker, it says may. The discretion is really yours. And if it pleases you, I'll ask it on his behalf.
No, I'll grant you, but the prior approval is Mr. Speaker ought to be aware before he even enters the chamber. Right?
Mr. Speaker, I have no intention of challenging you.
No, I'll grant you, but
okay.
we are all learning. It's an important subject that deputy majority leader brought up. We are all learning. We are not making you just a scapegoat, but we need to learn it. Honorable Patrick Buama has been raising this issue that once the owner of the question is not here and somebody is asking the question for and on behalf of that person, prior approval should be sought from the speaker, probably at the prior meeting of the leadership, so that the speaker will be aware that the owner of the question is not here, but somebody else is asking the question for on his behalf. So we are all learning. We are not picking you up. Yes, leader.
Speaker, you are right. If we want to be technical, the approval of the speaker should be sought before we come to plenary. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, we've not really been observing this rule. And that is why I'll plead with you to allow the lady to do what she wants to do. But indeed, Mr. Speaker, if Parliament is called upon to give prior approval of ministers, prior approval is given by Parliament before they are appointed by the President. Like we just did with the Supreme Court Justice, the Chief Justice. Prior approval is granted by this House before the President makes the appointment. So technically that is how it's supposed to be done. But as I'm saying, we have been observing this provision more in its breach. So, Mr. Speaker, I will plead that you allow our lady to go on.
My sister, Katie South, you may ask the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry what steps have been taken by the ministry to reduce Ghana's import bill on children's food in the country.
Yes, Minister.
But, Mr. Speaker, before I answer the question, can I kindly, in my parliamentary capacity, entreat you back on what the majority leader said? If this particular rule has been practiced more in breach than in observance, isn't it appropriate for us to make a start today by stepping all of these questions down for those who are not here until they come, and then the proper approvals are sought? I think, Mr. Speaker, that is the right way to go. We can't always be breaching the rules like that. Our rules, Mr. Speaker, are meant to be followed. So if they accept that the proper rules have not been followed in this Speaker, my parliamentary view is that step all of them down and then get them to, Mr. Speaker, do the proper thing.
Minister, I've granted her the leave to do that. So you may answer the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the import bill for preparation for infant use, which was approximately $25 million US in 2021, reduced to $20 million US in 2022. Speaker, in this regard, government would continue to assist the growth of the food sector through targeted interventions, especially companies specializing in the manufacture of food preparations for infant use. This will further reduce the import bill on infant food preparations. More specifically, government is supporting the private sector to enhance the local production of food preparation for children. This is partly through the 1D, 1F program and partly through the laudable efforts of key players in the fast-moving consumer food industry. Speaker, under the 1D, 1F program, Premium Food Limited, located at Kwaso in the Ajoso municipality of the Ashanti region, installed a new production line with capacity to produce 18 tons per hour of highly nutritious, fortified blended foods and ingredients. The company has installed additional silos with storage capacity of 17,600 metric tons to ensure consistent supply of raw materials. We have also under the 1D, 1F program, Yerdan Agro Group of companies located at Abisim in the Sunyane municipality in the Bono region has installed production capacity of 1,000 metric tons per annum for the production of fortified foods for children. Speaker, a leading manufacturing company, Nestle Ghana Limited, commissioned in June 2022 a new plant in Tama for instant cereal at a cost of about 175 million cedis. The production capacity is 6,700 tons per annum, making Nestle's Tama factory the primary hub for instant food for infant cereals in Ghana. In Ghana and other 24 countries in Central and West Africa. Speaker, it's projected that the next phase of expansion will provide an additional 6,700 tons of production capacity at a cost of 56 million cedis. It should be completed, all things being equal, in 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Gifa.
Thank you very much, and I thank the Minister for the response. Just to say that on the earlier discussion we were having, you may consider the word may and not shall in your deliberation towards whether we can ask the questions or not. But I thank you for the opportunity to ask the question on behalf of the Member of Parliament for Keta constituency. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you too. So we move to question 1280. And the question stands the member for Nalugu Gambaga, Honorable Seidu Isifu. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, with your leave, I want to ask the question on behalf of my colleague. He is currently in the north with the Speaker on official assignments.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry how much each of the 60 companies benefited from the disbursement of the 14,407,808 Ghana cedi through Exim Bank under the 1D, 1F projects. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister. Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, we sought permission and indeed we all pleaded with Our Lady to be given the opportunity to ask the question on behalf of the member who is absent. And the commentary that she ran subsequent to the application seeks to indict you for the permission that you granted. When she said that in the absence of the member asking the question, any member so authorized may, with the Speaker's prior permission, ask the question on behalf of the absent member. And she seeks to interpret the may, that she may or may not ask permission. You are totally wrong. What it means is that you may be granted permission by the Speaker to ask the question. If you have to ask the question, you require
the permission of the Speaker. If you have the word shall, it will mean that when you come with the permission, to seek the permission, the Speaker necessarily will have to grant you the permission. But that is not what it's meant by that. You are totally wrong in your understanding of Order 68.3.
Well noted. Well noted, leader. So well noted. So, honourable member for Bolibamboy, you may ask the question once again.
Mr. Speaker, I've asked the question already.
I am asking you to ask the question once again.
I should ask it again.
Yes.
Because leader was
honourable member, you have to ask the question once again.
Colleague. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry how much each of the sister companies benefited from the disbursement of the 14,407,808 Ghana cedi through Exim Bank under the 1D, 1F project. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, an amount of 14,007,808 cedis has been...
Honourable Minister, hold on. Let me acknowledge this wonderful school from Bubuashi. Bubuashi SDA Preparatory School. We acknowledge you for coming to witness our proceedings. You may come again anytime you feel you think you have time. Well. So, leader, Mr. Minister, you may go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. An amount of 14,407,808 cedis has been distributed through Ghana Exim Bank to support 48 I1D, 1F companies. The respective company names and amounts disbursed, totaling the 14,407,808 cedis are listed below. Speaker, I'm just wondering and claiming your indulgence to either let it be captured by Hansard as stipulated, because there are 48 names. Do I have to read all of them out? I'm just wondering if I should, because they all have the
we can
so you want me to read it out, Mr. Speaker? I can read it all out. But number one is Rovani Royal Limited, and it's 287,587.71. Royal Jute Company 127,500. But these are all in cities. Pro Life Infusions 138,626.37. Asamoah and Yamua Farms, 275,000. Boris B Farms and Veterinary Supplies, 491,555 cities. Daku Farms, 34,319.37 cities. Modern Global Industries Limited, 55,000. Wedi African Limited, 441,497 cities, 85 pesos. Bodukwan Farms Limited, 108,851 cities. Bloomfields Limited, 11,250. Central Mills Limited, 110,000. Ekunfi Fruits and Juices, 1,001,208.85 cities. Petersfield and Ray Group Limited, 165,314.66. Casa de Ropa, 227,377.10. Equapim Gold Agro Processing Limited, 781,859.32. Zuriel Carbon Products Limited, 759.48. SK's Ventures, 269,743.18. Miracle Food Processing Ghana Limited, 55,000. Palm Pharmaceuticals, 326,005 cedis 40p. Bowmax Farms Limited, 177,215.94. Nano Foods Limited, 114,491.93. Sun Harvest Food Processing, 355,611.10. Acro Farms Limited, 48,125. Apar Farms, 58,903.30. Lord Chikani Agro Industries, 257,222 cities. Margrace or Margrace Garment Industries Limited, 29,654.08. Black South Food Limited, 928,158.65. Super Contech Company Limited, 264,551.33. Agricultural Manufacturing Group, 776,437.50. Go Big Company Limited, 66,137 cities. Home Foods Processing and Company, Home Foods Processing and Cannery, 110,000. Atlantic Life Sciences, 715,000. Danex, 618,750. Entrance Pharmaceuticals and Research, 1,320,000. NS Chemist, 549,403.87. SK Therapeutics, 275,000. Kinapharma, 543,583.25. The Lawin Farms Limited, 23,713.50. Farm Fresh Foods Limited, 192,690.29. R&R Luxury Touch, 45,613.62. Alfie Designs, 27,500. Anua Afrique Company Limited, 55,000. Dignity DTRT Limited, 637,500. Card Manufacturing, 44,546.65. Champion Food Industries Limited, for 247,537.27. CH Global, 16,500. Plot Commodities, 891 cities, 960.39. GKV Investments, 33,147.57. This makes a total of 14,407,808 cities, 3 pence. Mr. Speaker, the ministry had in about March 2022 inadvertently stated to this House that indeed 60 IDF companies had been supported by Ghana Exim Bank. Mr. Speaker, a further appreciation of the facts and analysis of the various companies and the figures disbursed showed that it was not 60, but 48 companies. And the ministry renders an unqualified apology to the House for the inadvertence.
Very well. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for rendering an apology for providing this House with wrong information. Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the Minister, it seems he's not listening. If the Minister, I want to find out from you, what criteria do you use to qualify a company to become a beneficiary of 1D, 1F? I ask this question because as you read through the, let me explain. And this is a premium, wait, I know what I'm doing. I ask the question because as you read through the list, about 38 of them are companies that I'm familiar with, companies that had already benefited under Exim Bank between 2015 and 2016. So I want to find out what has changed, that they are now under 1D, 1F with the same support. Is there any special criteria? Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm slightly puzzled about the question. The question is this, and Mr. Speaker, let me just also emphasize the point. This question had previously been asked in this House. The answers had been given, except, bear with me, except that, bear with me, except that yes, Mr. Speaker. So the question is those which have benefited through Exim Bank, but under 1D, 1F. I don't quite understand what it means by these companies have previously benefited and they are now benefiting under 1D, 1F. They benefited under 1D, 1F, so I don't quite get it. These monies were those monies that were made available to Exim Bank for the benefit of the companies which have been outlined here. So I'm not so sure about the question Mr. Speaker he asked.
Honorable, I give you the last slot.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, companies such as Asamoah and Yamua Farms, Boris B. Farms and Veterinary Suppliers, Daku Farms, which received 34,319.37 and is qualified under 1D, 1F. This same company got more than this amount of money between 2015 and 2016. And so I want to find out what exactly this time they've done differently for which they are put under 1D, 1F. Thank you.
Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think we go back maybe to the point that he initially made. The qualification to become a 1D, 1F company is entirely different. If he says that he knows about a particular company which initially had benefited from Exim Bank, it simply means that that company applied separately in its own capacity as an industrial enterprise, Mr. Speaker, to seek a loan in its own right from Exim Bank, which was appropriated in the context of the application which was made. Subsequent to that, government under the 1D, 1F, Mr. Speaker, make these figures available. Mr. Speaker, there is a case that there have been some companies which have been struggling a bit. I think, Mr. Speaker, under our industrialization program, we call it the stimulus package. And that really is to help companies which are already existing, which may have taken the kind of loan that my colleague refers to, but are still struggling. So government decides that under the industrialization program and through the back of 1D, 1F, some monies will be made available under the stimulus package for these companies. It is maybe the case, and I can't speak precisely to that particular example he cites, that this particular company became a beneficiary of the 48 companies, Mr. Speaker, that I have outlined. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Let me come to Honorable Samson Ahi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry.
Trade and Industry.
What was the basis for the allocation of funds to the companies? Because I'm struggling to understand why you will give 34,000 Ghana cedis to DACO funds and then give Boris B funds and veterinary supplies 491,000. So what was the basis
For the distribution.
for the distribution, Mr. Minister? This one, you don't need coaching.
No,
Please,
coach,
go and answer.
No coach.
Go answer the question.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, in fairness, Mr. Speaker, companies will apply for monies that they respectively require. So even though it is DACO farm may have asked for 30 something, or maybe must have asked for 50 and we pruned it down to 33 or something. Some other company must have asked for 2 million or so, and it was pruned down to 1 million. But it's based on the specific claim or application made by the companies.
Very well. We move to question 1514. 1514. A member for Sisara West, Honorable Mohammed Adams Sapal.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry what plans the ministry has to ensure that the people of Sisala West benefit from One District, One Factory program. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just to feed into the last question, actually I understand that DACO farms already obtained about 6 million. My colleague didn't know that. DACO farms already obtained 6 million loan grant or whatever. So not a grant, it's a loan. But I'll go on to this question, Mr. Speaker. The One District, One Factory program, Mr. Speaker, is a demand-driven initiative facilitated by Government of Ghana, MPP government, to assist the private sector to establish at least one factory in each of the 261 districts of the country. Unfortunately, to date, no private sector promoter has expressed any interest in establishing a 1G, 1F factory in the Sisala West municipality. I would entreat my colleague, the member asking the question, to kindly encourage, spread out, and talk to potential 1D, 1F business promoters. And if they do, the ministry would help in the usual way.
Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the minister whether his ministry has done any research to know why the business promoters are not developing interest in the Sisala West District. Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, since I indicated, this is private sector based. And I think it's the case that this is done in collaboration with all of us, with all of our colleagues, with the district assemblies and our colleagues, MPs, to show interest in their respective municipalities and districts. I'm not so sure that it is the ministry that has to go and find out why Sisala West, no promoter, no businessman is showing any interest. Might the same way that, Mr. Speaker, you bear witness, Adansi Asokwa, I have tried and tried. Nobody has come in there, and it's not the case that the ministry has tried or hasn't tried. No businessman has shown any interest in whatever the natural resource that our district is endowed with.
Yes, your last word.
Mr. Speaker, as far as I'm aware, as a member of parliament for the good people of Sisala West, the government promised the good people of this country, and for that matter, the good people of Sisala West, that when voted into power, every district will be given one factory. I am not aware that as a member of parliament, it is my duty, Mr. Speaker, your government says so. It is not part of my duty to talk to businessmen and women to come to the Sisala West district to establish factories. I want to find out if, as of now, for the past 7 years that this program has been running, no single business person established interest in Sisala West district. It tells you that there are challenges confronting either roads, hospitals, peace. So what is your ministry, and for that matter, your government doing to ensure that there is an enabling environment for businessmen to come to our district to establish businesses? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, my colleague says my government. My government, the MPP government, happens to be the government of the Republic of Ghana. Get that in your head. Get that right, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think consistently this point has been made in this House long before I assumed this position. Let's get this concept right. 1D, 1F. The government at no stage said that of all the 261 districts of the country, So let's get it right. It's not so good an idea to just be handling and then bandying issues around. We must get the proper comprehension of the issues before we start talking to them. Government consistently has said that it will facilitate. We're trying to develop the economy on the back of industrialization. Government says the private sector, it's always been the key to open up industrialization of the country. This policy is private sector led. Government is assured that it will facilitate the entry of private enterprises into the industrialization sector, and of course, by way of the 1D, 1F program, government would help any single enterprise that shows any interest in any of the districts. Establish your interest together with the local administration, and then put your facilities in place. Government would then help through the facilitation that has been put in place. There are a lot of prospects, a lot of benefits that the government through this House is put in place for the benefit of those private sectors which have shown interest or which intend to show interest in developing our district by way of the program. It isn't the case that government itself of its own volition will come to Adansi Asokwa, put a factory there, go to Sisala, put one there, go to Ekumfi, put one there. That hasn't been the program. What the government has also indicated in terms of government itself coming to the aid of certain districts. It's been through, whether you are aware of or I'm not so sure, but a Noble Youth Program. That is a program for the youth, which the government itself sets out, facilitates, and finances. That's an entirely different thing altogether. That's for the purpose of the youth. In terms of this, I've made a point. It is driven by the public sector. You see, rather than Mr. Speaker asking all these questions, my colleague should make sure that he is going around like I am going around to look for private sector to put something at Asokwa, get some private sector to put something at Zella West for the benefit of your constituents. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, I believe the question is constituency specific. It's for Sisala West.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Oh.
Okay, let's hear you.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, flowing from the response of the minister, you see, knows that that was not what you promised, that you were only going to facilitate. That came later on. But be as it may be, the issue that you only intend to facilitate the establishment of a number of districts. 6 years on, would you agree? A number of districts are complaining that they haven't seen any sign of 1D, 1F, as in the case of Sisala and many others. Would you agree with us that that policy so far is a failure?
And I wouldn't ask the minister to answer this question. I wouldn't. No. No, let me.
He agrees that it's a failure. Let him just say.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Following from the minister's answer, where he said, to date, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I read, to date, no private sector promoter has expressed interest in establishing 1D, 1F in the Sisala West constituency or district. Mr. Speaker, adding to the earlier answer given under question 9592, saying that the establishment of 1D, 1F in a district is anchored on the natural resource endowment and competitive advantage of that particular natural resource. On this note, I would like to find out from the minister, what kind of natural resource or resources do we have in Sisala West, and how competitive advantage are they? Thank you.
Yes, Minister, are you?
Mr. Speaker, I will try. I mean, if he says that I should be able to tell him the natural resource endowment of Sisala, he should be prepared. He should be prepared to tell me the natural resource endowment of Adansi Asokwa. Do you know the natural resource of Adansi Asokwa? But that is not the point. That is not. Mr. Mr. Speaker, the point has been made, and I think we will continue to make the point. An entrepreneur would want to come into a district, a municipality, depending on what they find there. Mr. Speaker,
Honourable member, bringing the minister here to answer questions. Are you sure the minister was fully aware of what is actually within the Sisala West in terms of natural resources?
Mr. Speaker, my colleague, I'm not sure. Because he didn't pose the question, I have not read the contents of it, but I don't blame him. A question was asked by somebody. Mr. Speaker, I was not brought here to answer a question in respect of the natural resource endowments of the various districts.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Minister, in the context of 1D, 1F, government says it was aimed at reducing rural-urban migration to ensure that our urban cities are probably reducing in population. Very fantastic idea. 6-7 years down the line, Mr. Minister, are you sure that government is providing the facilitation enough to create a conducive environment to drive the interest of any investor to Sisala West, and for that matter, any other district that up to now, nobody's expecting interest? What is government doing?
Yes, Minister.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I was distracted in the middle section. Kindly repeat your question.
Yes, Honorable Peter.
Yes. The question, government is facilitating this flagship project called One District, One Factory. And it is the interest of government to have districts in all the districts, in factories in all the districts, to reduce rural-urban migration. 6 years down the line, you are the Minister of State. This is a government flagship program. Are you sure government is on track to providing the facilitating or conducive environment for private sector managers to be interested in some of these districts, including Sisala West?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Speaker, yes. But that's the point I've made. Classic example is the question that led me to regurgitate the figures, the companies which so far have benefited to the tune of the 14 million that I just indicated. But that is just from one bank, SM Bank. That's just from one bank. Mr. Speaker, you'd also read that consistently we have been saying that there are documents which have been placed in this house which are meant for the benefit of the companies that you talk about, even though for now there isn't a company from Sisala West. But documents have been placed in this house which are meant to adhere to the benefit of other companies which are spread all over the country. So that is part of the incentives that the government is producing to make sure that it facilitates its 1D, 1F program. But more importantly, you also make the point. Government said that this was meant as an interface for reduction of the intercity rural migration of the youth in search of employment. That is precisely one of the reasons why this program was put in place. And let me give you some figures. There are about 296 of these companies which have already been established in the number of districts that have had the benefit of attracting the private sector into the place. And by my last count, we were talking about close to 165,000 workers who otherwise would have been struggling to come to the metropolis, but who, for these establishments, have been able to stay put and take advantage of the benefits of the program. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We now move to question 1515. Question 1515. A member for Esikuma Odobin Brakwa. Honorable Alasan, answer. Yes, Honorable, let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to ask my question. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry when Esikuma Odobin Brakwa district will benefit from the 1D, 1F policy. Thank you.
Honorable, the same principle. Minister. Yes. Odobin Brakwa, when are you going to establish 1D, 1F for them? Yes, Odobin, yes.
Who asked the question?
Honorable, for the benefit of the minister, repeat the question once again.
Who asked the question? Yeah, let the person continue.
Repeat.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry when Esikuma Odobin Brakwa district will benefit from the 1D, 1F policy. Thank you.
Yes,
Mr. Speaker, let me declare my interest in that district. As a district that belongs to a cousin of my constituency district that belongs to from where a cousin of mine, the person who has the question, is the parliamentarian from the area. It's a cousin of mine. Mr. Speaker, even before I got to the ministry, consistently I was advising him that this is a policy, this is private sector driven. So he should try as much as I was trying in Adansi Asokwa constituency, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that there is a factory. He still hasn't been able to produce any private sector company. So, Mr. Speaker, the answer, unfortunately, is that no company so far has shown any interest because he hasn't been able to bring one to that place. When he does, Mr. Speaker, we will deploy all the facilities within the district, the ministry, to make sure that that company is given all the privileges.
Honourable Member.
Mr. Speaker, I think the minister is getting it all wrong. Mr. Speaker, are you aware, Mr. Minister, are you aware that there was a giant billboard that was erected at Brakwa in Esikmodobin Brakwa constituency that was portraying to facilitate one district, one factory in AOB? Thank you.
So, Honourable Member, what's the question? No, hold on. Let the owner of the question finish first. Honourable Member, you better come clear so that the minister will know.
Mr. Minister, Mr. Speaker, it was the ministry that erected that signpost. So that's why I'm asking whether the minister is aware that there was a billboard that was erected at Brakwa in Esikmodobin Brakwa by the ministry.
Mr. Speaker, he admits that I haven't been to Odobin Brakwa for a long time, so I haven't quite seen it. But if there was one, Mr. Speaker, it's in keeping to what I've just talked about in the House. It was just to facilitate, to invite people to show interest in his constituency, in his district, and his area. But as I've said, Mr. Speaker, he should also pull up his sock and make sure that there's some development in that district.
Honourable, this constituency specific. Honourable, you know. Let me give you your last.
Relax.
Mr. Speaker, from the answer given by the minister, and if you permit me to borrow the minister's own words, was the signpost erected, was it an Appian way to deceive the people of Esikma Odobin Brakwa?
Honourable Member, no.
Master, I sought permission to borrow his own words. That was it an Appian way that those signboards were erected to deceive the people of Esikma Odobin Brakwa? Since it was clearly indicated that there was going to be 1D, 1F in the constituency.
I'm sorry, did he say Appian way? I didn't hear it. Appian way? Mr. Speaker, I don't understand that kind of language.
Honorable member, the minister said he doesn't understand that word. So,
Mr. Minister. Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying is a signboard was erected by the ministry indicating that there's going to be one district, one factory, and in fact it was situated, the signboard was erected at Brakwa, a community in Esikuma, Odobin, Brakwa, since 2018. And I'm asking whether that signboard, on what basis was that signpost erected by the ministry to undertake that one district, one factory project?
yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as I said, I haven't been to the area for a long time. I will check with the ministry. If one was indeed put there as reiterated by my cousin, and if it was, what is the reason why it was? We will get to the bottom of that. But for now, I can't give you any specific answers.
Very well. We move to 1516. Honorable Wayomi, this is a you are available leader. Okay, let me give you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just for further elucidation on this matter, the 1D1F policy. The 1D1F policy was so specific, directed at every constituency having one factory. And that was what we all had. And all the adverts. So may I ask, are they changing the policy as per the answers being given?
Honorable member, as far as I'm aware, this question has been asked severally in this house. When the former minister was there, this question was, so many times. And today, the minister has answered this question severally. So I don't know why we are going back to the same. Yes, Minister. Yes, Minister. He wants to hear from you.
Sorry, the question is, are we changing the policy? I'm sorry?
Honorable Speaker, my question is that all the answers that I gave you, it's as if now it's contingent on an entrepreneur expressing interest in a particular constituency before the 1D1F comes to fruition. What I am saying here is this. The policy, which was well articulated and espoused on, was meant for every constituency to build a factory. And so therefore, per the answers that are coming, is the policy being changed with a condition? Is the policy being changed with a condition that unless a private person or entrepreneur express, that is when you come in.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at the risk of repeating myself, being repetitive, the policy has never been as he has, I think, understood it or as he understands it. The policy consistently has been the spread of factories to all the districts in the country, but as the leader says, it's not constituency based, it's district municipality based. Of course, if it happens to be constituency contingent with the districts, so be it. But consistently, it has been private sector driven with facilitation from the government of MPP. Mr. Speaker, let me put this on record. It's pretty rich for all this president to be coming from there. Article 36 of the Constitution of Ghana, Mr. Speaker, mandates government of this country to do exactly what the MPP government is now doing. Mr. Speaker, what has the members of this, the government, various governments of the party on this side, to show the people of Ghana as an equivalent of what the MPP government is set out to do? I find it extraordinarily rich that now the question is, why haven't you sent one district, one factory each to each of the districts of the country? When from 2000, the constitution has been in place from 1992. Ever since that time, when this side of the house, Mr. Speaker, has been in government, if they had started with a process of industrialization, if Mr. Speaker, the other side had since 2000 put in place any policy along the lines of what the MPP government is doing now, Mr. Speaker, the whole country, the whole of our districts in the country, all that will be flooded with the companies that we're talking about, and Ghana's industrialization process would have advanced by now. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, my last complimentary question. My last complimentary question, please. Mr. Speaker, the last answer the minister gave was that he has been to. Are you the speaker?
Honorable members.
Are you the speaker?
Honorable members.
You are not the speaker.
Honorable Deputy Minister, hold on.
Mr. Speaker,
hear you.
The last answer the minister gave was that he's been to my district for quite a long time, and he wasn't aware of any signboard or billboard that was erected in respect of 1D, 1F. My question to him is whether there was a proper handover to him when he assumed office in his ministry. Thank you.
The question is not admissible. The question is not admissible, Honorable Minister. Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, you could see that the noise in the chamber was too high. It was because members were reacting to a statement that the minister made, which I think he must withdraw. And he can only do that when he knows the facts. And the question is that, NDC, what did we do? Or what do we have to show? And we are worrying her like that. Mr. Speaker, I think that...
What was the person?
That, what do we have to show this side? And that we are worrying him like that. Mr. Speaker, the fact is, that is the cause of all the background. But if he cares to know, as a minister, I came to meet in this house. The Exim Bank that is prefacing everything on, he knows that it was this side. When we were in power, we established the Ghana Exim Bank, based upon which we say we are doing 1D, 1F. So, Mr. Speaker, if we establish an Exim Bank, Ghana Infrastructure Bank, all this for you, based on that, you are taking money from there and you are giving to already existing companies. And you are asking us what we have to show. We have the Exim Bank to show you. We have the Infrastructure Bank to show you. Based upon that, you are giving money to institutions and you are saying it's 1D, 1F. What you have to do to show is that the Sisala West is asking you, when are you giving them 1D, 1F? Eskume Dobi is asking you, when are you giving them 1D, 1F? If you do something there, then you have something to show. You haven't done anything of that nature. And you ask what we have to show. We lay the foundation for you. That's what we have to show.
Very well. We move to question 1516. Question 1516. Honorable members, give me your attention, please. Honorable members, give me your attention. We move to question 1516. And the question stands in the name of Honorable Abetete Nyakute, Euro Krobo, Member of Parliament. Yes, Honorable, let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry when the Yilo Krobo constituency will benefit from the 1D, 1F initiative, since the area is endowed with cassava production, which is a potential factor for consideration under the policy. Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister, the same question. So,
thank you. Mr. Speaker, although the ministry is yet to receive an expression of interest from the private sector, as I've already indicated, to undertake the cassava processing facility in the municipality, the Yilo Krobo municipality is one of the 58 districts benefiting from the Enable Youth 1B, 1F factory established under that particular program. I think I've already alluded to that. The Yilo Krobo Mango Processing Company Limited has been established by government to process mangoes into juice. The African Development Bank and the International Fund for Agricultural Development, Speaker, are funding the construction and the equipping of that factory under the ministry's Rural Enterprise Program. The building has been completed and handed over to the Assembly, whilst the procurement and installation of equipment is expected to be completed early next year. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yilo Krobo, are you okay with it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have it. Mr. Speaker, I visited the mango processing site in April last year. The building had been completed then. In the minister's response, he indicated that he expects equipment to be installed in the building next year. Today, the mango processing factory in Yilo remains an empty building with a big billboard. Can the minister explain why there's a delay in equipping the building so we can start processing mango in Yilo? Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Can I explain why? Sorry, Mr. Speaker, the question. Can I explain why the what?
What was the question again, Honourable Member?
Right, Honourable Speaker. I'm requesting the Honourable Minister to explain why it is taking so long in equipping the building for us to start processing mango.
Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, it isn't a fate that has befallen just that company. There have been difficulties with the procurement. And as I said, this is one of the specifics, the enabling youth programs established by government. So Yilo Krobo happens to have benefited from it. But Speaker, interestingly, I can assure you, I met with all of them, the 58 companies. I met with all representatives from all the 58 fairly recently, only about a week ago. And we went through the processes and explanation as to why there has been delay. Speaker, my understanding is that the procurement exercise, it takes a lot. But I assure you, like all the other 58, we're going to make sure that the equipment is installed and make sure that these factories are running for the benefit of their respective districts. I see that he is very happy. Unlike his friend there, he is very happy. Good man. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well.
Final question, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the Honourable Minister for his response. Mr. Speaker, cassava processing is the way to go for Yilo. I have taken the initiative to set up
a processing factory in the constituency. The good people of Ilokrobo want to know how the Honorable Minister is going to assist when we submit the expression of interest to have cassava processing in the constituency.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, maybe that is a classic example the member from Odobe Esikuma Brakwa should be following. Well, I'm not sure about Zala West. Zala West may also be following, but specifically Odobe Brakwa, you should be following this example. Thank you very much. Bring your documents and look for me precisely. Just get to the office and just come straight to your colleague MP's room. Come and bring the details. I will make sure that we get through the details. I think my directors are here. They are listening. Directors, Kofi, if you are here, listen to him. As soon as he gets to the ministry, bring him to my office. I mean, I'm entreating all my colleagues, take this thing seriously and then show some interest just the same way my colleague is showing. Come to the office and we'll get this thing sorted out. Huh? Thank you very much. You're a good man.
Elmina.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Minister has given us on these 1D, 1F factories. He hasn't mentioned anything about Commander Sugar Factory and Almina Fish Processing Plant.
Honorable Member.
And
Honorable Member.
my question is, should the sign be changed? Instead of 1D, 1F, maybe the sign should be some districts, some factories.
Honorable Member, come again. Come to the minister with a fresh question. Yes, Honorable Eric.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question has to do with the figures being provided by the minister in his answer.
Which figures?
The number of factories under the 1D, 1F facility.
Honorable Eric, we've gone past that question.
No, the minister indicated that 296.
But it's not this question. That was the first question. We've gone past that. Respectfully. Respectfully. We are moving to 1542. 1542. 1542. And the person stands in the name of Gomua East. Gomua East. Honorable Desmond de Graft. Pi 2. Pay 2. Yes, Honorable. The floor is yours. Let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Trade and Industry how many factories have been built so far by the government under One District, One Factory program, and how many of these factories are in partnership with private companies or organizations. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from 2017 to date, 296 projects are at various stages of implementation under the 1D, 1F, One District, One Factory program. And Mr. Speaker, the following is the breakdown. Mr. Speaker, 126 factories have physically been completed and are in operation and producing. 143 companies are under construction. 27 companies are in the pipeline, or called the pipeline projects. Out of this total, 233 projects are established by the private sector, business promoters, as already indicated, with the active facilitation of government, whilst 63 1D, 1F projects are established by the government directly. Mr. Speaker, it must be noted that government's active facilitation of the private sector investment in 1D, 1F projects consists of special incentives, including tax exemptions and the provision of interest subsidies on loans granted by the participating financial institutions. It also includes, where applicable, the extension of critical utilities such as access to electricity and water. The 63 government-established 1D, 1F factories are agro-processing facilities financed with the support of African Development Bank and the International Fund for Agricultural Development under the Ministry's Rural Enterprise Program. These include, Mr. Speaker, the 58 Enable Youth 1D established for youth groups to operate, whilst 5 are called common user facilities and are established for farmer-based groups to operate.
Thank you very much. Honourable Member, I think this is self-explanatory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Do you still have any supplementary question?
Thanks to the Minister for the answer. I get him right, but I want to ask one follow-up or 2 follow-up questions for him. From his answers he provided, he say 196 factories has been completed, 143 under construction, and 27 preparation. I want to know from the Minister, when would these 143 factories under construction will be completed? Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Mrs. Speaker, if I heard him right, is the 143, when would they be completed?
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, it's not for the Minister to be able to tell when they will be completed. I said these are private sector driven with facilitation. Our facilitation, one, is the exemptions that are held up in this house. That's one. Most of these companies are waiting on these exemptions. And of course, it's also about how much they themselves are also hoping to get from their financial institutions. Our financial institutions, those who are involved in the financial institutions are called the participating financial institutions. They are there to provide the facilities if they can. And of course, all the other facilities that I explained in the concern, the exemptions and all that, those are in place. As to when exactly these are completed, they are absolutely beyond the control of the ministry.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. My last question to the Minister. I want to find out from the Minister the procedure by which a company goes through to register to become one district, one factory. And then by, my friend, keep quiet.
But, Honourable Member, I think this question has been answered here today.
Minister, Speaker, with all due respect, I want to arrive at a certain point. So let me land at the point that I want to, so that the Minister can
let's
get me clear, and then. So I want to ask the Minister, by the procedure which a company goes through to register to become a one district, one factory, and how long does it take when a company registers to enjoy the benefit of one district, one factory program for his ministry? Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think you actually gave part of the answer yourself. Mr. Speaker said that, but this answer has been given several. Mr. Speaker, maybe I ask my colleague to read order 67, 1J, I think. I think it's H. Mr. Speaker, of our standing orders. In asking the question, we should also be mindful of our own standing orders. It says that questions shall not be asked, the answers of which are readily available in official publications. Listen, it's officially published. We repeated this question answer ad nauseam. Read something.
Yes. I am with him with his answer. Who? Are you directing me to call Eric? Let him. No, you are spoken, so let him come to Eric.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question has to do with the figures being provided by the Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, in November last year, the budget was presented, and under paragraph 598, figures for 1D, 1F were provided. It was stated that 296 1D, 1F projects are at various stages of completion, as the minister has stated. And also 126 are currently operational. That was in November. And then 143 under construction and 27 pipeline projects. The minister has repeated the same here. But Mr. Speaker, in March, when His Excellency the President appeared before this House to deliver a message on the state of our nation, the President gave different figures. And Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I would like to refer to the figures. The President indicated under page 9 of the statement that 106 factories are in operation. And then 148 were under construction. So, Mr. Speaker, I thought that the President came to this House to correct those figures. Why is the minister giving figures to contradict information provided to this House by His Excellency the President?
That's why I didn't want to call you. Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, you see why I was wondering if you allow him to answer my questions. You see, my friend is a little tactical. Mr. Speaker, these are figures. It's possible that there is a mix-up somewhere, but it's also possible that there have been add-ups to the figures that the President gave. But no, I appreciate the point you're making, because I think you said that earlier on these figures had already been given. In the melee of things get mixed up. So let's just clear these figures up and then see. It is also possible that, listen, the President would have been given the figures by the ministry. President and the presidency doesn't have this, so the ministry must have given the figures. It is possible. It's possible that some error or whatever, or slip or something. Let's reconcile the figures. But the figures are pretty clear. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, I don't intend to contradict what the minister has said. The figures that the President gave, exactly the same figures have been given to this House by the then Minister for Trade and Industry when he came to answer a question as to how many of the companies were in operation at the time. 106 were given by the Minister, which figures were given by the President. The Speaker, we in June, and companies under construction at the time, some of them have been completed, and added on the number for companies in operation was 106, as given by the Minister. And I must repeat, yes, to a question in this House. That was the answer the Minister provided. The Speaker, some of these companies have subsequently been completed, and of course they will add to the number of companies in operation. That is what it is. That is what it is. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I said in November, the budget reported the figures, November 2022, the figures which have been provided by the minister today. So the figures that were captured in the budget are the same figures being provided by the minister today. But in March 2023, this year, the President himself was before this House, and he told the House that the number of factories in operation as at March was 106, but not the 126 reported in November. So the President had corrected those figures. And today, the Minister has come to repeat
those figures given to us in November last year, and we are saying that why is the minister contradicting that of the president?
Honourable member, the minister has answered. And I think I want to go with the minister. He has answered. He said his figures, there might be some slippages here and there. I mean, let's take it in good faith. I think the next time the minister will come, he will come appropriately.
Mr. Speaker, for the sake of records, this rotative house that researchers will come for such vital information. And I think the state of the nation, which was presented by the president himself, was after the minister had given the highest figure. So the figures that came the previous year were higher. And in 2023, this year, the president came personally to give a lesser figure. That is the concern of the honorable ranking member. Mr. Speaker, to do Ghanaians a favor, I think both documents, be it the state of the nation or the budget itself, the budget was also presented on behalf of the president. So both are the president's information and documents. I think the best thing we can do for Ghanaians is to lay this matter to rest, is to give the minister the opportunity to go and reconcile the figures and come back with the final one. So, Speaker, I'm saying this because immediately the president presented the State of the Nation's address in March. Social media everywhere, people were questioning, which of the figures do we believe? Is it the one that the highest one presented last year, or the lesser one you are presenting now? So there's a need for reconciliation. But the minister who is presenting this today was not in office. So I think we should not push him too much, but we should give him time to go and do further reconciliation and present this house with the final information which we can work with. This is a figure, we are not just mentioning factories. Factories that we have pumped the nation's money in. So whether 126, 146, 142, Ghanaians need to know. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Minister, you still want to... I thought you gave a good answer.
Yeah, sure. Just simply to thank him for the suggestion. It's important that we get the figures right. So there's no problem at all. We'll get to the bottom of it. And then, because I'm told that my colleague, my predecessor brought some figures. And of course, this and the president will sort these figures out. This figure.
Very well. Honourable members, I think Adansin Koswahini, today you've had a very good baptism. Members have given you 8 questions to answer. Honourable Minister, are you listening to me? I'm saying today you've had a very good baptism as a minister. Your own colleagues have given you a very good baptism. You've answered 8 questions from members, and I think we have to thank you on behalf of the House for appearing before us to answer 8 questions. We thank you. We thank you, and you are hereby discharged. So, honourable members, you have one statement, and you take the statement, and the statement stands in the name of a member for Botiano, English Amanfrom constituency, Honourable Sylvester Matthew Tete. You are called Matthew, I see, on the shooting incident at Botiano Hills. Yes, Honourable, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I make this statement at this moment knowing that majority of my constituents are watching proceedings today. Mr. Speaker, on the 8th of June 2023, in the broad daylight, residents learnt with shock the gunning down of 5 men in Botiano Hills. The Ghana Police Service subsequently issued a statement claiming to have undertaken the said operation. According to the communique, it was an operation targeting criminal elements who have been terrorizing residents and landowners and also involved in land guard activities in the Botiano and its surrounding areas. This resulted in the death of the following persons whose names have been given as Abraham Tete Wayo, aka Brother, Augustine Nikwe, aka Dada Joe, Daniel Nikwe, Joseph Amankwano, and an unidentified steel bender who operates within the area. All natives of the Botiano area, this incident has brought uneasy calm in the community. Mr. Speaker, we acknowledge rampant land guard activities in and around the area and constant harassment of residents and builders alike. However, reports from the family, friends, and those with knowledge of these individuals have refuted the police allegation that these men were involved in activities. The chiefs and residents are aware of the daily collection of tolls as part of arrangement pertaining to sand winning activities. However, this daily collection of tolls does not sit well with other claimants of the same parcel of land that has led to long protracted land disputes, which people believe is a remote cause of this unfortunate incident. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of my constituents, we are calling on Parliament to institute an inquiry into the matter because the chiefs and people of Botiano and Kokrobite have rejected the claim by the police. We believe strongly that an inquiry could bring out the truth of this matter and bring calm to the people of my constituency. I will also urge the people of Botiano, Kokrobite, and the surrounding communities to remain calm and continue to be law-abiding as we allow the competent, relevant state agencies to take up the matter and ascertain the veracity or otherwise of the claim. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make this statement on behalf of the departed soul and the families. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Senior, let me go here. I'll come back. Yes, Honorable Ranking for
Mr.
Defense
Speaker,
and...
I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by our colleague, the Honorable Sylvester Matthew Tete, who is MP for Botiano English Amanfro constituency, where the unfortunate incident occurred. Mr. Speaker, I wish to seize this opportunity to console the bereaved families of those who fell victim to the police brutality, so to speak. Mr. Speaker, the honorable member in his statement is simply calling for a probe into the circumstances that led to the shooting to death of 5 persons, 5 individuals who are his constituents. Mr. Speaker, in the statement, the Honorable Tete alludes to the fact that the police in a statement sought to justify the killing of the 5 victims on grounds that they have been involved or are alleged to have been involved in land guard activities. But, Mr. Speaker, the point needs to be made that if it is indeed true that the 5 persons
were actually involved in land guard related activities? Was it for the police to shoot them to death or to attempt to apprehend them and bring them to justice? Mr. Speaker, I think that the proper thing that ought to have been done in the circumstances was for the police to have attempted to apprehend the suspects, because our criminal jurisprudence is grounded on the presumption of innocence, and that presumption of innocence includes suspected land guards. And so the shooting to death of the alleged land guards leaves much to be desired. Now the members of the community are saying that they know the suspects, they know the victims, and that they are not known to be involved in land guard related activities. Sun winning is not the same as land guard related activities, Mr. Speaker. In any case, Mr. Speaker, only in 2019, this Honorable House passed the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 999. This is a law under which suspects who may have engaged in acts of land guardism and vigilantism could be arrested and prosecuted under. So where laws are passed by the House, Mr. Speaker, it is not for the police to take the law into their hands, constitute themselves into death squads, and annihilate suspects. It is an unfortunate development which must be nipped in the bud. Mr. Speaker, that said, I need to make this statement and observation that the killing of suspects in recent times has become one too many. Mr. Speaker, not too long ago, police suspects, they were policemen themselves, who were suspected to have been involved in the bullion van attacks, were arrested and in proper police custody. These two police officers, unfortunately, lost their lives, and the argument of the police was that the suspects had led them to the hideout of their colleagues, and in the process, there was some exchange of gunfire, and the two suspects who were in police custody, unfortunately, were the only ones who died. I can recount several instances where suspects died in police hands. Mr. Speaker, it could be any of us. Any of us could fall victim to those brutalities. And so I think that we must all, with one voice, support the honorable member so that we probe the police once and for all. When the Ashaman incident happened, which involved military personnel, we were all up in arms. But the good thing about Ashaman is that lives were not lost, except that a soldier unfortunately lost his life. Now we are talking about the loss of 5 lives. 5! That amounted to butchering. 5 lives. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I wish to commend the maker of the statement and urge this House strongly to constitute a probe, give timelines for results to be brought back to this House for firm action to be taken. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ranking Member. Yes, Senior, let me come to you. Honorable Member for Abuakwa South.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to make a few comments relating to the unfortunate killing of 5 Ghanaians by police officers on duty. Honorable Speaker, by reason of the fact that the maker of the statement has intimated that there's the necessity for this House to embark upon an inquiry, I will not prejudge the matters. But I just want to emphasize the powers of the Committee of Parliament to go into such an investigation. And with your kind permission, if I may refer to Article 103(3) of the Constitution. Committees of Parliament shall be charged with such functions, including the investigation and inquiry into the activities and administration of ministries and departments as Parliament may determine, and such investigation and inquiries may extend to proposals for legislation. And what is very important, to give meat to the powers of investigation of the Committee of Parliament, Article 103(6) is very important. A committee appointed under this article shall have the powers, rights, and privileges of the High Court or a justice of the High Court at a trial for enforcing the attendance of witnesses and examining them on oath, affirmation or otherwise, compelling the production of documents and issuing a commission or request to examine witnesses abroad and the rest of it. So the committees of Parliament has the powers of a High Court. So I am of the humble view that the maker of the statement is right on, and this is a matter the Committee of Defense and Interior can investigate, and they should investigate it. Honourable Speaker, the reason why it's important for a parliamentary investigation is that the police have their own internal mechanisms in dealing with wayward officers. They call it the service inquiry, where the police themselves will constitute a panel to embark upon some of these inquiries. Honourable Speaker, I beg to submit that half the time it's self-serving. It's like you want to call upon one witch to expel another witch, by whatever powers is difficult to know. So the police service inquiries are not enough. But if it becomes a parliamentary inquiry, then they have a new set of individuals, members of Parliament, probing the matter. And that is when the members of Parliament can finger waywardness in the name of policing, and then deal with the officers who, by every calculation, may be responsible for unlawful killings of individuals. I've said because somebody, the maker of the statement, has mooted the idea that there's necessity for inquiry. I don't want to prejudge the issues. Honourable Speaker, let me touch on one matter which is very, very important for us to look at. Modern policing. The modern policing, as we have been educated all over the world, is a submarine policing, in which the police are not doing ambulance policing. And when we hear an event in a place, then in the fever of the moment, they take guns and they have their helmets to go and confront so-called criminals or alleged criminals. But what they do, that they are able to nip certain things in the bud before the events happen. That's the submarine policing that helps a lot. In fact, in every community, they are able to even have individuals who feed them with relevant information. So before you start your criminal undertaking, you would have been arrested already. And that area should be emphasized for purposes of not running ambulance policing. Because it is always the case that in their feverish attempt to go and arrest somebody, that you find these deaths occurring and all the rest of it. But when they mount good intelligence, they will always prevent some of these situations. It's an area that the service should look at. At this juncture, my heart goes out to the bereaved family. I don't know whether some of the victims are having wives and children who have been orphaned because of this unfortunate incident. And we commiserate with them and see how this august house will aid the investigation. Honorable Speaker, this is a very important occasion that you should use the powers of Parliament to go to the bottom of this matter. I'm grateful to you for the opportunity to say a few words in support of what my good brother and friend has said. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you to. Should I come to leadership? Or there's anybody who would like to contribute? Okay, then let me come to leadership.
Mr. System. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, before I proceed, I must commend the maker of the statement for representing the good people of Botiano in the effective way. This incident, Mr. Speaker, we've heard it in the news, and it's good he has brought it to the attention of the House. Mr. Speaker, this must not be the first one. It might not be the last one. So, Mr. Speaker, by commending the maker of the statement, I think it is only appropriate because what we are hearing is just one side of the coin. And until you dive well into the matter, you may not be able to know whether there are some undercurrents or remote causes which led to the open shooting that we saw. Mr. Speaker, this kind of incident is becoming too rampant. And the best way, Mr. Speaker, we can stop this is to make sure that this statement, after members making few comments on it, be referred to the Joint Committee of Lands and Forestry and Defense and Interior. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying Lands and Forestry because they are talking of land gas. This House passed the Land Use and Spatial Planning Law. And when you go to the district assemblies or municipalities or metropolitan assemblies, Mr. Speaker, we have people responsible for those units. What is the essence of laws and why did we pass that law? We passed that law to regulate matters concerning fiscal planning and all those things. So if after the passage of the Land Use and Spatial Planning Law by this House and establishing offices in all the 261 MMDAs, Mr. Speaker, we still are combating or battling with the matters of land gas. I think, Mr. Speaker, it's only appropriate for us to investigate this specific one. For all you know, they might not be land gas, as the people are saying. But until you investigate, how can you conclude? You can only conclude after a committee has investigated it and brought recommendations to this House. And the best way to prevent or to avert or excuse future occurrence of such incident is by getting appropriate recommendations or lessons from what has happened. So when we are talking of it being referred to a committee for investigation, we want to draw some lessons from what has happened to be able to stop any future eventuality of that kind. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, we are saying this. So, if you look at, Mr. Speaker, the number of policemen that we have, I think we must be able to deploy some of them to those virgin or unutilized peripheries, so that in future we may get intelligence about matters like this before they escalate, if truly it was land gas. So, Mr. Speaker, without wasting too much of the time, I think members have done justice to the matter. And I want to re-emphasize for it being referred
to the committee of this House for investigation and report back to the House. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, majority leadership.
Speaker, let me speak in solidarity to my colleague who called me the wee hours of today, and one could tell the frustration and the disappointment in the tone of his voice. So I share in the pain of our colleague and a brother, and also the sadness of the entire constituency. So our hearts go out there to families of the affected victims and the entire constituency. So not to belabor the point, I'm in total agreement with many of the calls that the earlier speakers have alluded to, except to say that in the referral, it's important we come clear. Speaker, with respect to you, we give some timelines. It's important we give some timelines. And again, because we have an existing committee on defense and interior, probably we have the leadership of the Committee of Constitutional Legal. I think they are relevant in these matters, so that they can come atop this situation and apprise the House duly. Speaker, I couldn't have agreed more with my colleague, Honorable Ahmed, when he spoke to many of such occurrences across the length and breadth of this country. And so the big question is, I know that the new IGP is doing some wonderful job, but there are concerns about intelligent policing. There are many of such places across the country where I think that the leadership of the Ghana Police should be able to pick intelligence in good time and to be able to eventually track down perpetrators of such crime. It's sad that this thing should happen at this time. And so we will employ, Speaker, that you do the appropriate referral and also emphasize on the timelines for the committee to report back to the House for a decision of a sort in terms of approach in dealing with these matters to be taken. And on that note, I want to express my solidarity with my colleague and to let him know that he's not alone in this difficult time. The entire House is with him. Speaker, thank you for the space granted.
Thank you very much. So, honorable members, which committee are you supposed to add to the Defense and Interior?
For respect, the Committee on Constitutional Legal, the leadership, probably the leadership.
Leadership of Constitution and Parliamentary Affairs?
Yes, Speaker.
And Ahmed was also mentioning lands and natural resources.
He has abandoned his suggestion.
If abandoned you?
The Speaker, no. You see, the Speaker is one of the best quantity surveyors in this country. Mr. Speaker, on land matters, I know your capacity. Mr. Speaker, on a more serious note, I was looking at, the Boundary Commission is under the Lands and Forestry Committee. That's why I said the land and forestry should be part of it, because we are talking of land gas issues. But if they are saying because of the legal issues, it should be constitutional legal, maybe land litigation and those things, Mr. Speaker, I yield to them.
Very well. So, honorable members, this is a very important message. And it's not just a message, it's becoming one repetitive. So we are making the referral to the Committee of Defense and Interior, and we are asking leadership of Constitutional and Parliamentary Affairs to also join the Defense and Interior Committee to look into this matter and report back by the end of this month. Ranking, you are here. I'm giving timelines. By the end of this month, we should have the report so that Parliament can take appropriate action on that.
We are obliged, Mr. Speaker.
So we've brought statement time to also close, and I will have to come to leadership for directions.
To the time and the fact that we've exhausted business as scheduled, I will move the House to adjourn to tomorrow. To tomorrow, 10 o'clock, the forenoon. But let me add that tomorrow we are scheduled to have to deal with the outstanding issue of Committee of the Whole on a very important subject matter.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion for adjournment.
Very well. Honourable members, the motion for adjournment has been moved and it has been seconded. I will put the question. The question is, as many as are in favor of the motion to adjourn the House to tomorrow 10 o'clock in the forenoon, say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow 10 o'clock in the forenoon. The House stands adjourned.